We're just weeks away from the end of the 2025 NBA regular season, and usually by this point, the MVP race is all but decided. But what happens when two players are redefining greatness in the same season? History tells us the award goes to the best player on the best team. Simple, right? Except this year, it's anything but. Because history has never seen anything quite like the battle between Nikola Jokić and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. One player is leading his team to the most wins in a decade while putting up prime Michael Jordan numbers. The other, he's having a season so absurdly dominant that it may be the most impactful in NBA history. Two all-time great campaigns, one MVP trophy. What does it even mean to be the league's most valuable player anymore? If the MVP was purely about stats, this race might already be over. Jokić is putting up a near 30-point triple-double on ridiculous efficiency, the first player ever to rank top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists in a season. That alone should make him the obvious choice. Yet, Shai's numbers are equally historic: minus 33 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists on 60% true shooting, a stat line matched by only Michael Jordan, James Harden, and Luka Doncic. But even they weren't as efficient as Shai has been this season. History, however, tells us that box score dominance isn't always enough. Of the 5 previous seasons where similar numbers were posted, only one resulted in an MVP win: Jordan's legendary 1988 campaign, where he was also the league's best defender. Then there's Jokić, the only modern comparison to the season. Russell Westbrook's 2017 MVP year, when he became the second player ever to average a triple-double. Back then, Westbrook ran away with the award. Jokic's season is an even better version of that, more efficient, more impactful, yet he might not even win. That's how insane this race has become. Looking beyond the box score, Jokić and Shai are practically rewriting what it means to be valuable. At his peak, LeBron James posted a box plus-minus BPM of 13.24. Steph Curry's best? 11.94. This season, Jokić sits at the top of every advanced metric. But here's the twist. Shai has matched or even surpassed him in some categories, dethroning him at times as the league's best player. Different analytics tell different stories. Kraft NBA ranks Jokić as the best player in the league, with Shai right behind him, then a massive gap before anyone else. But estimated plus-minus, it has Shai as no one, Jokić right behind him, and again, a giant drop-off to the rest of the league. The numbers show two players dominating in a way that makes everyone else look like mere mortals. Yet, history shows that raw stats alone have never determined an MVP. If they did, we wouldn't need a vote at all. When MVP debates reach a stalemate, the tiebreaker has traditionally been team success. 25 of the last 30 MVP winners came from teams that finished as a top 2 seed. This season, the Thunder aren't just winning, they're on pace to be the 4th highest winning team in modern NBA history. Shai is leading the juggernaut. Yet, recent MVP voting trends have placed less emphasis on team records. 3 of the last 4 MVPs came from teams outside the top 2 seeds, including Jokić himself in 2021, when the Nuggets didn't even win 50 games. If team success is the deciding factor, Shai has the edge. But if individual dominance and impact matter more than ever, Jokić remains in the conversation. At the heart of it, this MVP race is a battle of philosophies. Do you reward the best player on the best team, or the player who might be having the most dominant individual season in league history? No matter who wins, this debate will rage on for years, and that's the beauty of it. The MVP award isn't just about numbers for wins. It's about legacy, impact, and the story of a season that might be remembered as one of the greatest in NBA history. For years, the MVP debate has revolved around the simple formula: the best player on the best team. But as the game evolves, so does the way we define value. More than ever, the conversation is shifting toward the player who has the greatest impact on winning. And right now, there's one player in basketball whose influence on the court towers above the rest. Let's take a look at the current top 8 MVP candidates: Nikola Jokić, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Stephen Curry, Evan Mobley, and LeBron James. Now, let's break down their respective teams' net ratings. Shai has been nothing short of spectacular this season, leading the Oklahoma City Thunder to not just the best record in the league, but one of the most dominant regular seasons in NBA history. Their net rating is the 2nd highest ever recorded, and for many, this overwhelming success is enough to put him at the top of the MVP conversation.
Just them two.
That's it. No,
That's it.
Listen,
nobody else is in the conversation
Not
right
like
now.
this.
Not like this right now.
Not like this. These two are playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen two individuals play.
Yeah,
Jokić just doing wild shit, bro. You see the shit?
Yeah, you can't stop him.
You see Shai? The 50.
Yeah, he's starting to show me he can go more than 30. He's pressed another button where I didn't know if he could get there last year, but this year he's elevating that.
But value in basketball isn't just about how often your team wins. It's about how much your team depends on you to win. When we analyze the net rating of each MVP candidate's team when they're on the floor, it's clear that the Thunder, with Shai, are a juggernaut, boasting an absurd plus 18.3 net rating, meaning they outscore opponents by nearly 20 points per 100 possessions with him on the court. Behind him are the Cavaliers with Mitchell and the Nuggets with Jokić. However, the most telling metric is the difference in team performance when these players are on versus off the court. And in this category, Nikola Jokić stands alone. The Denver Nuggets with Jokić are a championship-level team, sporting a plus 10.6 net rating. Without him, they plummet to a shocking minus 8.2, putting them among the worst teams in the league. This means that Jokic's presence on the floor is the single most influential factor in his team's success. While other MVP candidates leave their teams in capable hands when they sit, like the Celtics without Tatum or the Thunder without Shai, the Nuggets completely collapse without Jokić. Of course, context matters. A player's impact can be inflated depending on the quality of teammates they share the floor with. If a player is constantly surrounded by starters, their numbers might appear stronger compared to someone who plays more minutes with rotational players. So, how do these MVP candidates compare in that regard? Jokić does, in fact, benefit from playing alongside Denver starters more than any other candidate. 77% of his total minutes come with the Nuggets' top unit. But does that significantly skew the numbers? Not really. Giannis, for instance, plays with the Bucks starting lineup almost as frequently, and across the board, these numbers vary by no more than 10% for all candidates. In other words, Jokic's impact isn't just a product of who he plays with. It's a testament to his own greatness.
Yeah, I felt like all of those shots felt like they was easy shots. You know, he just played a game at a pace that you can't speed him up. You know, fluster him. He's strong. He can make every shot. I mean, I hate when he makes shots because he's so unorthodox. It's like, oh yeah, that's a miss, and then they go straight in. You know, he's incredible.
According to Cleaning the Glass, Jokic's on-off splits suggest that the Nuggets would be approximately 45 wins worse without him. That is an almost incomprehensible level of value. For comparison, Shai's impact on the Thunder equates to about 15 extra wins. This brings us to the core question of the MVP debate. What do we value most? Is it more impressive to single-handedly drag a team from mediocrity to championship contention, or to elevate an already great team to historic dominance? The answer isn't clear-cut, and the way voters lean on this philosophical divide will ultimately determine the outcome. Historically, another factor has played a crucial role in MVP selections: narratives. And right now, all signs point toward Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the frontrunner. In ESPN's latest MVP straw poll, 100 media members cast their votes. The results? 0 first-place votes for Mitchell, Tatum, or Giannis. Jokić earned 30, while Shai claimed a commanding 70 of the 100 first-place votes.
This dude is so fucking good. Straight up. Like, I haven't seen anything like him. When he passes, you got a 7'1" center bringing up the ball, initiating the offense. The passes that he makes from one side of the court to the other, on time and on target. The bounce passes in between defenses.
But when polling NBA executives, analysts, and fellow players, the results flipped. Of 25 votes cast, 18 went to Jokić and only 7 to Shai. Narratives shape MVP races more than we'd like to admit. Jokić is fighting against voter fatigue, while Shai is the fresh face leading the young, exciting team. He's checking every box: the marquee performances, the elite two-way play, the statistical dominance, and the storyline appeal. The NBA is always searching for its next face, and Shai has emerged front and center. But narratives can be misleading. They can overshadow the raw impact we're witnessing in real time, and that's where precedent becomes invaluable. If history is our guide, the MVP race will come down to what voters truly value: the sheer dominance of Jokic's individual impact, or the undeniable brilliance of Shai leading the best team in the league. Either way, we are witnessing an all-time great season, and whichever way the vote swings, there will be no wrong answer. The MVP award in the NBA has long been a subject of heated debate.
I'm stunned by the odds that Vegas has. And by the way, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is amazing. He could win. He's a worthy candidate. But the common theme in people I talk to who have a vote, who don't have a vote, but run these teams or play or have played for these teams, is that it's going to be excruciatingly close. Both Shai and Joker are having incredible historic level seasons. So, yeah, Jacqueline, there's no doubt it's open. In fact,
not just among fans, but also among analysts, players, and even the voters themselves. It's an award that, in theory, should recognize the most valuable player of the season. Yet history tells us that the reality is far more complicated. One of the biggest hurdles in defining an MVP is precedent. Basketball history is filled with unwritten rules and trends that shape how we view greatness. No player, no matter how dominant, has ever won 4 MVPs before reaching the finals twice. Voter fatigue is another undeniable factor. If the award purely went to the most valuable player every single year, Michael Jordan and LeBron James would each have at least 8 MVPs by now. Instead, the MVP has become something else, a blend of performance, team success, narrative, and the ever-evolving criteria set by the media members who cast their votes. Decades ago, voters unofficially decided that the MVP was not just about being the best player or even having the best statistical season. Instead, the award has become an intricate puzzle with multiple criteria that shift over time. If it were just about individual dominance, Jordan would have more than 5 MVPs. If it were about the best player on the best team, he'd still have more than 5. But history shows us that even the greatest players are subject to inconsistent and sometimes baffling standards. This inconsistency has led to a kind of historical inertia where past mistakes shape future decisions. As one fan aptly put it, sports writers regret not giving Jordan all the MVPs he deserved, and now they punish everyone after him like it's a Supreme Court case instead of an award they could redefine at any moment. The MVP voting system follows tradition not necessarily because it makes sense, but because it's the way it has always been done. Now, as the current NBA season nears its climax, the MVP race is tighter than ever. One could argue that Nikola Jokić deserves the award purely because he is having the best season in basketball. Statistically, analytically, and even in terms of impact, he checks all the boxes. But history tells us that's not always enough. For better or worse, the MVP is about more than just numbers. It's about narrative, expectations, and ultimately, the voters' interpretation of value. With less than a month left in the regular season, the decision looms large. Will voters uphold the historical precedent and award the MVP to the player who has built a near-perfect case? Or will they break from tradition and acknowledge an individual season that may be among the most impactful in modern NBA history? One thing is certain, the debate is far from over, and no matter who wins, the conversation will continue for years to come. And that wraps up the greatest MVP race of our time. Who do you think deserves the title this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more epic sports stories and deep dives.